everybody at Enchanted Emerald. This is Melissa bringing you your monthly reading for my Leo gang. So Leo, Sun, Moon, and Rising for February 2022. And as always, as we get started here, I use the traditional Rider-Waite deck for my readings. That's my go-to deck. As we get started here, we step into your energy for the beginning of the month. We have the Seven of Swords here with the Eight of Pentacles and the Queen of Wands for the beginning of the month. So we're talking about the 1st through the 5th here, okay? So for you, Leo, I'm really feeling like for this whole month, you're going to be walking into this month feeling as though the external conditions are wearing on you. These external conditions are really taking its toll. And so stepping into the beginning of this month, I want you to see that you have the power here to make a decision for yourself. Now, you are seeing what you're seeing as an illusion, right? We have the Seven of Swords here. This is what's happening. You are getting caught in your mind a little bit, right? It's a little bit trippy, and so it's where you're having a little bit of difficulty maybe distinguishing what's real and what is not, okay? So you see things, and things get distorted a little bit by our mind as we filter that through our lens of our experience, right? And so then you come up with this story through your ego, right? And so this is the story that you're telling yourself. And so what is real? What are facts? What do you know to be true? You need to get to the bottom of that, because some of this comes to be distorted a little bit, and it's a little bit fabricated as we process things through our own emotions, right? It can be scary. The world can be a scary place sometimes. And so when we get into our head about things particularly, we are letting that fear sometimes take over when we start to get into that ego mind of like what could happen, what could possibly happen, but has it happened? No, not likely. And so this is what's happening for you. Now, I feel as though we want to step into things where we could be in a place where we're controlling things a little bit. And so, you know, that kind of eases some of that fear. And so there's all this energy and output that you're putting into building what you want, right? You're really, really putting a lot of effort into building something. And so this is where we have to kind of incorporate what facts we know and kind of work with the energies, what's really showing up for us, right? So I feel as though you might feel like things are a little bit elusive for you, where things are showing up, presenting themselves to you, and then it's like slipping from your grasp at some point or another. And so there's a reminder here from Spirit that this is not the end all be all, right? Like your story is still being written. This is still the progress, right? This is still a transition period very much for you. And so understand that the divine is offering you an opportunity, so to speak, to use your power, your creative power here, right, with this Queen of Wands, to focus your energy a bit, because you have the ability to, you know, mold and shape things and create things, co-create with the universe. And so what is your intent and where is your focus going? Because remember that where your focus is going, that's what's going to be showing up for you. So if you sit back and you allow that ego to kind of take the overdrive and it goes into cruise control, and you let that take the wheel, then that's going to be what's showing up for you. So if you have some fearful thoughts, some things, some intrusive thoughts coming in, this is where you have to start to challenge some of those things, replace some of that with some affirmations, and start to challenge them. Like, hey, do I know that this is true? Is this real? You know, is that something that I know to be a fact? Because if it isn't, you have to start dismissing some of those thoughts as they kind of roam through your mind a little bit, right? And so I do feel like things could be exacerbated a little bit, that you could be working with somebody, or maybe in a relationship even, working, you know, on building relationship with somebody, where, you know, things can be exacerbated by, you know, there's a battle of wills kind of happening where neither is going to budge from their side, right? Nobody wants to compromise. And so I feel like each of you is kind of like willing to wait things out until they get what they want. And so that's really not helping things at this point. It could be somebody that you work with, but I do feel, you know, that it's important to be mindful I feel like there's a key in overcoming this by who you know. So who you're having conversations with, maybe who both of you know. I think they could offer a key in overcoming this, right? I feel like spending time with this person, with those people that you mutually know, I feel the energy completely lighten when I think of that. And so this could be a really good way to move past this, or get through this, or maybe these people that you're spending time with mutually eventually come to know this person really well and offer you some really good advice, and then you're able to move forward from that. But they are the key. I really feel like it's who you know, or what's being said with who you know, and I feel the energy completely light and in a group setting, and I feel that that could be very beneficial for you, particularly this week. So moving into the 6th through the 12th for you, Leo, we have the Queen of Pentacles and the Sun. I love them. They come out together. Not sure if you can see that very well. Kind of blurry. And then we also have the Two of Pentacles, right? And the Two of Pentacles, he looks like he's juggling a little bit, maybe, a couple of decisions, maybe juggling a lot of tasks, right? There's a little bit of rough sea behind him. Now, what I feel with this is that despite all the matters surrounding this, I feel like maybe this person has you completely enchanted. You're totally entranced by this person, right? Where even if it's the roughest of seas that you see here in this Two of Pentacles, you feel like anything that's going on, you can overcome it because you have really high hopes. So what I hear with that from Spirit is that song. I actually had to look it up. It's Lloyd Price though, and it's High Hopes, right? And it talks about wanting to really prove yourself to somebody because you really love their personality. You love, you're loving everything about this person, right? And so you really are like putting all your eggs in this basket. And so it soothes you to have these high hopes. You just feel like you're a dreamer, right? Like you want to make this work, like come hell or high water, right? And so this turns out to be quite the endeavor. And so, I really feel like you could be a little bit indecisive with yourself at times with that Two of Pentacles, but you're not really all that wavering when it comes to knowing what you want, knowing that this is what you want and this is what you want to make work. Okay, so that's really what I feel with this. So I feel, though, the devil is in the details this week. So when you're looking at things might look on the surface like this looks super easy, like this and this needs to happen, and then this will happen. But in actuality, I do feel like when you look around, things might not be exactly what they are seeming, right? Like things are not going to turn out as you expect them to turn out, or something to that effect. So I feel like maybe you would find something out, discover something about somebody that you didn't know. Some things would come up. And I feel as though there's a little bit of a blame game kind of going on as well, where there's somebody saying that, like, only my emotions are at stake, right? Where you feel like somebody else is getting off, the words scot-free are coming through. So, like, that this person isn't going to have any type of emotional suffering or emotional hurts happening as a result of that, when that doesn't necessarily always tend to be the case, right? And so that could be something that you're discovering, that even though this person might look well to put together and things like that on the surface, internally they may be struggling with a lot of things, and maybe that's the reason that they kind of like poker face you, and they're struggling internally with a lot of emotions, and not just necessarily with what's going on with you, but with other things, because they don't necessarily know how to deal with those emotions. And so that's really what I feel with that. Now I feel, regardless of all of this, Spirit is saying, like, listen, we are lighting the way. You've got that sun there, right? Lighting the way, guiding the way, illuminating your path. We're totally protecting you, right? So you're going to walk your path. You're going to see that mountain line way ahead. You're not going to stray from your path. You're not going to run into that mountain line. And speaking of that mountain When we talk about the mountain lion as a spirit animal, we're talking about that protection too that's coming in from spirit as well. So I feel like you're going to be very adaptable, right? And you're going to be able to overcome any little obstacle that kind of comes your way. So like if you come across like a fallen tree on your path, you're going to be able to overcome that. Whether you're actually provided the tools to cut that up, to get that off of your path, to get past that, or whether you know, you literally walk around it, whatever that is, you got to be resourceful about how you're overcoming this obstacle as it presents to you, okay? But understand that self-doubt is not going to serve you, right? You can't sit in that self-doubt. You have to start to problem solve. You have to start to overcome some of these obstacles. And some of that is overcoming that self-doubt as it creeps in, right? And so not thinking about that. And, you know, I think as you start to prove to yourself that you can do some of these things by just doing it, I think that that's where some of that comes in, challenging that self-doubt, and it starts to wither away, right? That's where that wither comes back in, right? And so really like that for you, Leo. Because Leo is a lion, and you have lots of courage, and it's time to roar, right? Like there's so much energy available to support you right now. Moving into the 13th through the 19th, we have the Ace of Wands. Lots of creative, beautiful, abundant energy coming in, a divine gift, right? Passionate energy, right? A passionate endeavor. A little bit of confusion, lots of options with the Seven of Cups there. And then we also have the Lovers card that came out with the Nine of Wands. So they actually came out together. What I feel with this is that there are some judgmental aspects that are kind of coming forward at this time, maybe. There are things that are transpiring in which you have gone into some sort of a protective mode, protective of yourself, protective of somebody else, and maybe having to come to the defense of that other person, whether you've actually had to physically defend them, to ward something off, right? To prevent something from happening, some sort of a physical altercation, or whether you've actually had to, I feel like there's a lot of slanderous things happening where somebody's talking about somebody behind their back, where you've had to come to their rescue in terms of standing up for them because they weren't there to defend themselves. And so I feel like this is where all of this kind of comes into a culmination, where you are starting to hear some facts being revealed, and this is where you're starting to distinguish, like, what's that reality, what's facts, what's real, what you know to be true, and where you're starting to see where you might have gotten up in your head a little bit about things. And so, you know, I do feel as though once you hear some of these facts, you're still going to maybe, you know, get into your head a little bit about things, because I think it's human nature to kind of analyze things as you start to hear things, some truths and things come through. But I think that the reassurance here for you from Spirit is that, listen, you are going to be judged by other people. When you make a decision for yourself, other people might judge you for that decision. That is your decision and your decision alone. Whether somebody perceives that to be right or wrong, that is not your business. The decision that you make will be right for you. And so that's your guidance. And I got chills with that, so that is definitely what you're intended to hear here. Okay? Moving into the 20th through the 28th. So yeah, stand by that decision too. Passionately stand by that, that position, that decision, okay? Moving into the 20th through the 28th, we have the Ace of Pentacles. Okay, it's a little blurry with that lighting, sorry. The Ace of Pentacles with the Seven of Pentacles. And then we have three cards that actually came out together as well. Five of Swords. Gosh, can't talk today, got distracted. Knight of Cups. And then 10 of Swords. And so what I really feel with this one is I hear this phrase, and so I please don't think that I am judging anybody by saying this. I'm just repeating what I hear from Spirit. But it's some sort of a phrase saying like it ain't over until it's over, or it ain't over until the fat lady sings, or something like that. Now, I'm not judging anybody by any means, right? But it's just what comes through. So basically, what I hear from this, what I'm interpreting from this from Spirit, is that this conclusion, right, is not yet here. Things are still in progress, right? And it's probably not going to conclude how you think that it would conclude for you. And so what I mean by that is, you know, this outcome, you still have potential to influence it. You still have a potential to be shocked by it, right? Like everything is still in progress. Like there are certain events that can still transpire that can affect that outcome. And so I think it's important to be mindful of that. And so I think this is where, you know, it comes to your attention where you are trying to do some problem solving, right? Maybe it, you know, you're trying to get to a point where you're ready for this, to embrace this, however it turns out. And so with this, I do feel, you know, whether this is you or another party, what I'm feeling with this is that somebody who gets into some sort of a dilemma with that Five of Swords, this is like an internal conflict, I feel. This is like not necessarily a conflict with somebody else, right? But this is like something that you're feeling internally, like you can't sort it all out. And so I feel like somebody sits alone and like talks out loud to themselves, like voices their thoughts out loud to try to like gather their thoughts about things, and it helps them to problem solve. And so also it helps them because they kind of need some stimulation, right? Like talking out loud and listening to music and things like that. I think that helps them to come up with new creative ideas in terms of problem solving. And so, you know, I feel like this helps them to resolve that internal conflict. It helps them to problem solve things that are happening in their external environment. And so I feel like with this Ten of Swords, as you're doing all of this, this Ten of Swords is really, you know, a symbol of like this version of you that is going to end, right? This version of you, right? I feel, you know, like there's similar themes that have been presenting themselves in your life, like over and over again. And you are starting to question, like, why is this happening over and over again? And how can I prevent this? And so I feel like you're coming to some like aha moments and some realizations through all of this. And it's deep and it's profound, and it might even bring you to tears, I feel. And so when you are starting to embrace some of these new concepts, you're starting to live it. You're starting to bring this into your external world and starting to live that as your truth. You're shedding this older version of you. So you're starting to also embrace this as your truth. You're being honest with yourself, right? And you're being bold. You know, you're being empowered to bring that into the external and live it. And so I think that that's what this is very symbolic of. And rightfully so, I feel like also this other person, there could be another person involved with this, you know, because I feel this is very symbolic. As you shed this version of you, you're shedding the past, right, of somebody else that had hurt you. And so you're living, you know, a lighter version of you, and more empowered version of you, more, you know, courageous version of you. And so, you know, I feel like there's a letting go in this, you know, a deep letting go of that. And so that's beautiful. Overall advice, Leo, for you is the Six of Swords here. And I feel like there's an inclination to leave, to want to get out of situations that are no longer serving you. I do feel like the phrase dragging through the mud or drug through the mud, I feel like there could be people that are talking badly about you. Let them talk, right? That is not your concern. What you need to do is make sure that you are honoring yourself through this transition period at this time, and understand that whether you know, you're in this boat, they're in this boat, we can all be in this same boat. We all go through the same obstacles. They just come out to manifest themselves in different ways in different people's lives, okay? And so understand that that is, you know, their journey to get through their journey. So when they're placing that judgment on you, that is their own issue that they have to work through. And I know that takes a really big person to understand that, but understand that that is not your issue. And so, you know, I feel like I hear this JoJo song, Leave, Get Out right now. Like, right? Just, I feel like you just want to run from things that are just not serving you, just not good for you, just not good for your mental health as you embrace this newer version of you, right? And so there's so much new. The word new this, new that just keeps coming up. New, everything new, I feel. Whether you want to go out and buy new things and redecorate, like just new stuff, I just feel. Changing up the energy in a lot of ways, traveling somewhere, getting a new job, you know, a lot of different things. Maybe even a move for some of you Leos out there would be in order as well. But I feel as though it's about making the change that you feel called to usher in this beautiful new energy for yourself, to get on the other side into this paradise for yourself. Create yourself a paradise. So beautiful energy here for you, Leo, for February. I do so hope that this reading resonates for you, as always. If it does, please let me know in the comments below here on YouTube. I'd love to hear from you. And if you haven't yet subscribed, please don't hesitate to hit that subscribe button below and share with all of your Leo friends that might be able to benefit from the reading as well. If you're interested in your own personal reading, you can hit me up at enchantedemeraldny@gmail.com or on Facebook at Enchanted Emerald. And I will be back with another reading for you guys again soon. Thank you so much. Take care.